And this is the time when I decided to go on TRT.
Testosterone replacement therapy.
Sex drive went up again.
How high did they get?
Yeah, I could just easily get a lot of girls, which was kind of nice because I didn't enjoy that before.
What was it about Linny that made you leave that life behind?
We can be best friends, but also there is still a sexual spark.
That's the difficult balance to find.
What do you think about guns? You got guns?
I need to defend America a little bit here.
I'm like less about the hustle culture now.
We've experimented with a lot of different businesses.
I would have the shiny object syndrome.
If I was starting from zero, I would never start a clothing business again. Which other businesses have you tried that didn't go well and that you wouldn't recommend other people to do? Merijn,
That's good,
welcome. Welcome to Marbella.
Hell yeah.
My old home, maybe your new home.
Who knows?
Is that still under wraps?
It is.
Okay, so
We're
exploring
looking
the
at some
idea.
properties after this podcast. So.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, man. How you feel about not being here anymore?
It's tough, because we had a life here. It's like in the past we visited and we were like, oh, we romanticized about living here. And I thought this time would be easier because like we lived here and for business reasons we had to move back. So I was like, I won't be that tempted. Granted, Julie and I still made a promise to each other that we're not allowed to look at properties while we're here, which we're not going to do.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But we get off the airplane, we're on the car, the Uber to here, and Julia's like tearing up. She's like, oh, this is home. And it's funny because we have all of our like spots, the restaurant spots we like to go to, like the massage spots we like to go to, the gyms. And it's funny because you just like slide back into your normal routine here. So it's tempting. I would highly recommend that you move here.
Yeah, I know. I was like, you should probably retire here. Anyways, yeah.
I think that's the plan, because the only reasons not to live here for me are business related.
Yeah, that's why like this would be ideal. Julia seems happy here too.
Yeah. Well, part of me thinks, and I'm curious, how old are you now? Because you're not quite as
29.
old. Yeah, you're one of the younger, but you're like, we're the same generation of YouTubers, but you're like the youngest of our generation.
I started when I was 19.
Damn.
Yeah.
See, I started when I was 27.
Yeah. And I think at 21 I dropped out. So like 2 years later.
You dropped out of university.
Yeah.
Where were you studying?
Marketing and sales.
Okay, the standard.
It's like a generic study. It's like, I don't know what to do. Gotta like make my parents proud, do something, gotta make some money. So marketing and sales.
I did economics for that. I mean, I took some computer science classes that helped me get my first job, but my main degree was economics. And it was the same thing. It's like economics, like money or something.
Exactly.
That was my thought process. Maybe I make more money, economics.
Yeah. So when I dropped out, also the school director asked me like what did you learn here? And I'm literally like, not really anything, to be honest.
What did he say?
When it comes to business, I was just being honest, because I learned so much from just starting myself, trying things out, and I realized like having a relatively small business is just totally different than what you learn in university, because what you learn is all you getting ready for working for a boss. So it's.
This is this interesting thing that I never thought about. And now that what you're saying about also, but now that we have a daughter coming soon, and you start to think about like what type of school do you want to put them to? And the current schools, I hear other people, now that I'm in this stage, like that's a lot of the content that I'm consuming is like these type of things. But a lot of this current school systems were initially created just to create employees, right? Like let's say you go, you have to obey orders. If you don't obey orders, you get in trouble. You have to memorize things and just do them exactly how they were told to you. And it's funny because they also say like school, it's like a German word. Kindergarten, it's like a German word. And a lot of these were like Germanic institutions that were created, I think early 20th century around, these Hitler times and things like that was just to create like cogs to be as part of the system. And now I doubt, do I send our kid to school or not?
Damn, I don't know if it's that much related to that though, but I wouldn't know because I haven't dug into that history. But yeah, I can surely see like, I don't have kids yet, but one of the things I always wondered is like, what am I going to do school-wise? For me, it was tough because I have ADHD, which I recently figured out after like having a lot of problems in my childhood. And so the regular school is just not for me. And also like, I think it's, in a way, it's just like difficult, like, because you don't know what your child wants to become. my parents always told me, like, if we just want you to be happy. If you want to be garbage man, fine. We just want you to be happy, which I think was a good lesson. And that's kind of how I also figured at some point I want to drop out, which they didn't like. So they were kind of like, we want you to be happy, but we don't want you to drop out. We do want you to be normal. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's tough.
Yeah, my school experience.
I think there is a lot of options these days for different type of schools. So I think there's more options than when we were young.
Yeah, I think even homeschooling now is something that when I grew up, I looked at it as like, oh, if that guy's like a weirdo because he went to homeschool. I think now it's become more common. It allows for flexibility with traveling and things. And then I think you can also ideally create some sort of hands-on curriculum. Like maybe, I don't know. I think the ideal setup, I don't know if this exists, is like there's some type of online school that teaches them the basics of mathematics and grammar and English and writing and the things they have to understand to like live in the world, personal finance maybe. But then that should only be a couple hours a day probably. And then as parents, maybe we give them some hands-on.
I don't think I learned personal finance.
No, I didn't.
That would be great. Yeah.
I said maybe that's one we have to learn. Yeah. But I think there's benefits to school. It teaches you, or it taught me that my performance is scored based on how I perform, so that like it's important to perform well in things.
Yeah.
But it hurt me in a lot of ways too. You know, I think it trains us to be permission seeking. Like I think that's why it's really hard to like start a YouTube channel or quit, because like we're so used to like if we don't have permission by the teacher, we can't do it.
Exactly. Yeah. You cannot think outside the box because that's not accepted. You know, you live in the system. So you kind of like have to think in the way they want you to think.
Yeah.
But if you think outside of it, it's really not accepted, you know. So that was kind of tough for me. Even like we were learning, it's just outdated because you're learning old stuff. Because the books are old.
Yes.
They don't get updated. Like, you know, the world we live in, it goes so fast. You need to know people in the industry to get like the new, because even if TikTok releases a new update, obviously you cannot like write a book about it and teach it in school next week, you know. So it's all, we were writing blogs back when I was in university in my study, when I was making YouTube videos. That was like the new thing. Before that, everybody was a blogger. You know, those were kind of people making money online. YouTuber wasn't really a thing.
I blogged before YouTube.
So I started vlogging and we were writing blogs, and I was like, video smarter, you know. Yeah. And then later, it was kind of cool. One of the teachers started using me as an example after I dropped out.
As a bad example?
No, as a good example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because some teachers do want to, you know, it's not that they don't want you to succeed or anything. They just also are in a certain system. But some teachers want to, you know, try to get a little bit out of it. They cannot do too much because I think they have to stay, at least in the Netherlands, like 80 to 90% inside the school system, the books. Yes. And then the 10 to 20% they can be creative. So it's a very small amount. But in that part, she used me as an example, which I thought was cool.
She's like, don't do this. But he's kind of successful. He's kind of successful now, but don't do it. Yeah. So born in the Netherlands, perhaps moving to Spain, but you've traveled to the U.S. many times, yes?
True, yeah.
Texas only, or?
No. I've done whole West Coast trips. I was fortunate that my parents took me to the West Coast. And so I actually went there at a young age, like when I was 15. We did like a trip that was kind of like the biggest trip we've done too with the family, you know, doing a road trip to the West Coast. And I just fell in love immediately because I used to play a lot of GTA, you know, so I grew up with GTA pretty much. And so I always used to see like Muscle Beach. This was when I started lifting. I saw like Muscle Beach. I used to walk around in LA.
What year was this?
2011.
Okay.
2011.
So it was still
I was young.
It was still the golden era of LA. LA had not
I think so,
gone downhill yet. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, and like the Grand Canyon and all, like I used to be just like wanting to go there. I saw it on all the movies, you know. So when we went there, it was just amazing. And then I went to study, like doing an English study when I was 17, 18. This was after I finished like my regular school. Like not university, but just school. So that was great experience. I even got like a California tattoo on my back.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen it.
I think you've seen the tattoo. You just don't know what it is.
I don't know. Is it the shape of California?
Next time you'll see it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty old one, though. I've never updated it either. It's like fully in color and stuff.
Man,
my other tattoos are like really nice. This one is just, I put it there when I was like 17, 18.
Well, my first tattoo is it's Nodo. It's really like, it's funny because I grew up in the States and I have the Sevilla tattoo on my back. You grew up in the Netherlands. You have the Los Angeles tattoo on your back.
I was pretty inspired by America and by the vision of just like the freedom and like thinking big, you know, doing things outside the box. So that was kind of like the American dream. That was kind of, I guess, things I grew up with. The people I looked up to were all kind of Americans. So I kind of like that mindset.
Who are some of the people
Who
are the people you looked up to?
So I guess just like inspirational speakers, which they don't exist in the Netherlands.
Like a Tony Robbins or?
Tony Robbins came a little bit later, but I would say when I was younger, maybe just like a Will Smith and then just some of the interviews he did, which I really liked. Obviously, like in fitness later, the guys like, Steve Cook was my first like fitness inspiration, but then Christian Guzman.
Yes.
I started watching you later. I think I was already in the industry, but like Chris Jones.
You're like, not you.
No, later.
But I wasn't making content at the time at the beginning of Steve
In the beginning,
Cook.
it was you weren't there yet, so it was just like Christian Guzman, Chris Jones.
Chris Jones
was the very first guy I watched.
Yeah.
I respect him a lot, like because he's still making videos, he's still doing this, he's been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
And he actually has had like a rough kind of like upbringing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've always that was kind of my number one inspiration on YouTube, Chris Jones. Then who else do we have back in the day?
Well,
I guess the whole Gymshark crew, but yeah.
Well, the first Gymshark, who was that? It was Christian Guzman. Who else? I don't even remember.
Maybe, and Matt Ogus and
Steve Cook,
Chris Lovato. Yeah.
Chris Lovato. Yeah. These are some OG legends, man. It's funny because now we're kind of the OGs. In terms of like, we're the older guys that are still uploading on YouTube. We've been doing it for a while. It still doesn't feel that way. I still feel like, even though I've been doing it for 8 years, how long have you been doing it? About the same, yeah?
Next month, it'll be 10 years.
Fuck, you've been doing it.
Have you been 8 years? Yeah, see, so that's why I came across you later.
Yeah, 8 years. Yeah.
So my next month is 10-year anniversary.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Max, he just hit 10 years earlier this year as well. It's wild. It's wild, man. It's most of our life, or maybe not most of it, but a significant percentage of our life.
For sure, yeah.
It's funny because it's probably my first or second year of uploading videos. If I started 2017, you got signed to Alpha Lead. When, 2019 maybe?
2017.
2017?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Ah, man. So I remember...
Yeah. I think we did the world tour in 2018 or maybe 2019. I think 2018.
Because I was following you at the time. You were still Student Aesthetics, which low-key, I got some beef with you about that. Because you're Student Aesthetics. You're the only guy other than me not using his name for his YouTube handle. And then you changed it to Merijn.
Oh, for real?
And I was How to Be still. And then Christian, at the time that you changed it, I think I was working with Alpha Lead. And Christian was like, you should change it to your name also. I was like, yeah, but Merijn is a little bit more memorable than David de las Morenas. I'm like, no one's going to be able to type it into YouTube and find me. So I decided to keep How to Beast.
Yeah.
But I was like, when you changed from Student Aesthetics, I was like, damn.
I mean,
I lost my brother.
Yeah, How to Beast is also a pretty good name. Like, you can keep going on that, but like Student Aesthetics, I just knew it had an expiry date. Because, right now I'm not, like, I even dropped out of university. I'm far from a student,
Drop out aesthetics.
Yeah. So I was like making videos first on like how to get in shape while partying and enjoying your life.
Yeah.
But at some point, I'm not partying anymore. So it's like, yeah.
Merijn. Well,
I'm not sure if it was in a way it was smart, in a way it wasn't. So this is both ways to it. Like,
yeah, I imagine.
I'm never gonna know how it would have turned out if I kept the name.
Well, I'm Team Student Aesthetics in case you're taking the votes. But I remember you uploaded a video. I guess it was 2017. Maybe it was the end of 2017. Because I started uploading the beginning. You uploaded a video. It was you, and I think Christian was in the thumbnail. And the title was like, "We Made It," and that was when you were signed by Alpha Lead. And I remember that in my head because, also I wanted to be signed by Alpha Lead at the time, and I was watching you. I was still living in Boston, but I was watching Max and Christian. And something about that really motivated me because it was you traveling to Houston, doing a photo shoot with them, working out with Christian, and I was going to be like, fuck. I was like, fuck it, let's get it. I'm going to be the next one. I don't know if I was the next one, but I think I was 1 year later, I got signed by Alpha Lead.
Yeah, so I saw Rob getting signed by Alpha Lead. I think he was the first.
It's like dominoes.
Yeah, and I was just becoming friends with Rob. I sent him an email back in the day to collab. I was like, I'll fly out to Ireland if you want to shoot video with me. He was like, okay, cool. That was funny as fuck. We were so young. So I saw him being signed by Alpha Lead, and he made a recommendation, but it took me about a year still to get actually signed. I think when I hit 100K subscribers, that's when I got the text from Christian. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I think I reached out to them, but they ignored it. And then once I hit like 100K subscribers or something, then they were like, all right, I will take you now. But it's interesting that you took inspiration from Rob. I mean, you took inspiration from a lot of these guys, but you took inspiration from seeing Rob accomplish this goal you wanted to accomplish. Then I saw you do it, and then I took inspiration from that. I think it makes it real too, because maybe in the past you see like the Steve Cook and the Christian Guzman, and at that time to me it felt like, these guys have just been big forever. Like people just love these guys. And with you, I was seeing your like growth path. It was ahead of mine, but I think that's what made it realistic for me. That was like, I think I can make a name for myself.
Yeah, I think that's also good with like inspiration. So I used to be like I said, I used to be inspired by all these motivational speakers. Perhaps I don't listen to any motivational speakers anymore. By the way, I feel like it's kind of, I don't know. At some point, you've kind of like heard all the words. But some guys are just really good at like motivating. But at the end of the day, motivation is not really enough. But I feel like it's good to like look at guys who are not super far ahead, but who are just slightly ahead of you to take inspiration from. Because otherwise it feels kind of almost impossible.
Yeah, it's almost like you're like worshiping someone if it's not the case. But I watched a lot of Elliot Hulse back in the day.
Same.
I'd watch because he's he's in like his garage gym. There would be no music. The camera would be like this close to his face. and he would like, like he just had this raw masculine energy. And I'd watch one of his videos every morning. I think it's important at the beginning to have that motivation, but I think at some point, well, that's an interesting question. At what point did it change from for me? I'm curious for you, but for me, it changed from motivation to at some point that I don't even know if it's discipline. For me, it's almost like I wake up and I'm like, you better get all this shit done today or you're screwed, bro. Like I just have this like fear of not failure, like this fear that I'm not doing enough now. At this point, it's no longer motivation. It's like, no, if I don't do everything I can do, then we're not going to grow as much as we can grow. And then everything's going to go bad.
Yeah, so my theory is kind of like this. There's kind of like different levels to it. I did a whole blog on this, but it's probably like half a year ago. So I hope I say this right. But so the first level is kind of like the motivation level, where you look at this external motivation, these motivational videos. That obviously doesn't last for very long. But you need some motivation in order to build discipline, which is the next level, which is, I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a week this week and then actually doing it.
Morning routine for me.
Or morning routine.
And now people make fun of the morning routine, and I agree. It's not like the end all be all. But I think it was crucial for me to build discipline doing the morning routine every morning.
Then you go from discipline to kind of like habits or routines, which is, that's the morning routine. This is what I do every morning. There is no negotiation. This is just what I do. And the gym also becomes a routine at some point. It just doesn't become discipline. Like we, for example, is it discipline that we go to the gym? I don't think so. I think it's just part of your routine. So then there comes the next level, which is kind of like the final level, which is identity shift, like changing your identity. And I think your identity is obviously like being a YouTuber, uploading twice a week. You have to upload twice a week. That's your whole identity. You kind of like have to do it. So you feel like you have to live up to that standard every day, and that's why you feel this way. That's kind of like what I think in a sense.
So motivation is the spark. Discipline is, okay, I'm kind of pushing myself to stay disciplined. Then it becomes a bit more habitual, and then after probably some years really, or months or years, then it turns into the new identity.
Yeah. So mainly for things that are a bit easier, I think like the gym, you can call it a real identity shift, because for me, eating healthy, it isn't even routine or discipline. It's sometimes it is, but mostly it is my identity. I just always pick the healthy choice at a restaurant. I always eat my protein bar or protein shake, or I have my oats in the morning for 10 years. So for some people that seems difficult, but for me, that's just my identity. It's easier for me to be in shape than it is to be out of shape, like literally.
No, I agree.
Yeah. For the YouTube videos, I think it's slightly different because there's more discipline involved for like business, which never really goes away. That never becomes a true like habit. You know what I mean? It never becomes easy.
Yeah.
I think the gym, in a way, kind of does become not super easy, but pretty easy. And that's why I took up running, for example. It becomes hard again. It's discipline, you know? I think it's different.
No, I agree. I think with the gym, well, the running may disprove this, but I think with the gym, you have full control over it. You know what to expect. You can get into that state. For me, I'll take the pre-workout. I know how it goes. YouTube and business never can become routine, because if they become routine, then the views go down or the business goes down.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's why business is I think is always like kind of the ultimate challenge. I'd say YouTube is also business. It's the it's the one thing you can never truly. Well, maybe you look at like Elon Musk or something, but I think for most of the population, even people like us I've had way more success. I'm sure you've had way more success than you ever thought was possible, but I feel like business is the one beast that just will never be tamed. It's always like every day you got to wake up and like it's like in a video game you got to go like fight him again, and just like you beat him, but then the next day you wake up and he's just there again waiting for you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess the theory that I just described, I'm not sure, as I said, like maybe you get disproved by business when it comes to like fitness or those things. And obviously there's also, you're not just in one level and you stay there forever. So it's not that simple.
Yeah.
You know, but I think those are kind of like the levels. And then when you do this so often, like making those 2 YouTube videos, you just get really hard on yourself. But I think that's still part of discipline.
Yeah.
You have to go out of your comfort zone all the time. And with the gym, you don't. Because at some point it becomes routine. Yeah.
It's true.
Which is good too.
Yeah.
Which is good. Because if everything is difficult, then life becomes very difficult and challenging. And then it's hard to like focus all your energy on the things that matter.
Yeah, the gym almost goes from a place of challenge and getting outside of your comfort zone to something that rejuvenates a little bit, at least mentally, and it's like a meditation. And now it goes from being something that's draining to something that almost gives energy. Obviously not if you're like I mean, maybe you're about to run a half marathon the day after tomorrow.
Yeah. That's not fun, man.
But so many people are getting into running now, and I still have not the slightest urge. So what got you to do it? Just the challenge, or?
Yeah, for me, so at some point, maybe we'll get into the TRT thing anyways, but I lifted for like 10 years, and at some point I didn't make progress anymore, basically. So I lifted for 10 years natural. I did a men's physique competition. I got on the Men's Health cover maybe 2 months later, and I basically accomplished like all my fitness goals that I ever had, like all the dreams, which was cool. But then I kind of fell into a black hole. So that's the thing about also chasing goals, is like when you accomplish a big goal, sometimes if you ever experience this, you fall into like a black hole.
Well, if you don't have something next that you're working towards, I guess the goal was the thing to look forward to, and if the goal's gone, then you have to replace it.
Exactly.
But that gets exhausting also, I guess.
So I didn't really figure out a way to replace it. I just couldn't figure it out. And there were a lot of factors that led up to this, but at some point I decided to start TRT, also because my hormone levels were low, which in a way was sort of an excuse for myself.
This was 3 years ago.
Which I'm totally honest about. It's about 3 years ago now. Yeah. Maybe even, I think it's 3 years.
So it was a combination of, can I make more gains, factors. But also maybe the excuse, but also the reason of, okay, my blood work doesn't look great.
Yeah, so the thing about I accomplished that goal. Afterwards, I started feeling really shit. I don't know if it was just the goal, but it was obviously me dieting for so long. I was shredded for like multiple years in a row, multiple times a year, which was good for business, for Instagram, etc. So I started, doing a test of my testosterone levels, and it was extremely low, like old man low.
And you were still quite lean at that point, though.
I gained a bit of weight, but I was still quite lean. I did gain like 20 pounds or more, so I wasn't super lean at that point. I did like 3 tests over a period of a couple, maybe like 2 months or so, and it just kept being low. But I didn't address my sleeping problems. I didn't address how much I worked. I didn't address some other personal issues. So,
and those things the sleep was not good at that time?
No.
And the stress levels were high?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't really take all that into account. I was just like, my stress will go away if I have this new goal, if I get excited again and I, become more successful. I was on this, I guess, success race, with myself, and also looking at other people like, I want to be as successful as this person. So I just would never stop. And this is the time when I decided to go on TRT. So not just for the levels, which was one part, to feel good again, to feel healthy. Keep in mind, I was really young at this stage. It was super stupid, which I realized later.
How old were you?
26, 27, 26. Okay. I think 26, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I started TRT at 30.
27.
Still quite young. But
30, yeah. That's still quite young. So, but one of the other reasons was that after 10 years, lifting was just boring. And I made my living out of lifting. And I'm like, what else am I going to do? I like, making my career out of lifting. And now it just starts to become boring. And it used to be fun when I was making progress. I could like get super shredded or do something different. I look different every year a little bit, but then those last few years, there was not just that much difference. So it started to be fun again when I started TRT. I felt great. My levels were normal. Sex drive went up again. It was also low at the time, which was also a problem, of course. And one of the reasons why I knew like this is not really right with my testosterone levels. So that went up again. I started feeling good, and I started making progress in the gym, and I started to get jacked as fuck. Like, I don't know if you see my shoulders back at the time.
You were
if I look back at it, I'm like, whoa, that's.
I think insane. I saw you in Alpha Land when you were still on test.
Probably.
Yeah. You got some
that's
shoulders.
Pretty big, yeah. I got some. These shoulders just blew up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Not out of nowhere, but yeah. So, yes, it was pretty fun again. But then a couple months later, it's just kind of started catching up on me. So I was able to sleep like 5 hours a night and be fine, or 4 hours. I think because of the testosterone. So because my levels were higher, I could get away with it. So
how high did your levels get? Do you know?
How low?
How high did they get on TRT?
How high? I wouldn't know the numbers now out of my head.
Okay.
So I'll probably say the wrong numbers.
Yeah.
I did make a whole video about it.
What?
So keep in mind, it was 3 years ago.
Were you doing 200 milligrams a week or?
Nah, less.
Okay.
Less. Yeah. Okay. That's about like, the average is about like 140.
Okay.
I suppose.
Yeah.
But it put me in a high range.
Yeah.
Like if you look at a range level, not insanely high, but within the like natural range, but like at the top. But keep in mind, like your testosterone is like that throughout the whole day, so that makes it different than if you're natural. So obviously that makes a massive difference, So yeah, at some point I was physically and mentally like broken. I started like when I walked into a room, my eyesight started getting crazy. I started seeing lights flickering. I started getting panic attacks all the same week. So you were panic attacks, like
you got on TRT and you felt even less healthy.
No, I felt great in the beginning, but after a while, my body started catching up.
Like 6 months.
Your body keeps the score, man. Maybe I think I was on for 8 months. So yeah, probably 6 months.
Okay.
Maybe 5. Because after that, I just hit a point of like physical, mental burnout, literally. Like,
were you still feeling good in the gym?
Not at that stage, no.
Okay.
I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't go outside. I had anxiety. Like I would go crazy. Yeah, it was like legit panic attacks. My heart would start racing if I would see people.
But were you worried? Like, were mentally? And I know there's a lot of physiological factors that were probably the main cause. But mentally, were you like nervous that something was going to go wrong with that person, or like what was going on inside of your head to have the panic attacks?
No, it's hard to explain. Because when you feel good, it's almost impossible to imagine how you felt when you were feeling bad.
Okay.
Like if you've been sick maybe in the last few years.
Yes.
Can you explain now how you felt? Can you think about what you were like, how you felt? No, but if you're very sick, you think like, especially as a man, men are crybabies when they get sick. We want the women to take care of us. Yeah. No, but you in your head, you think like.
You just feel like I can't do this. I can't do
anything,
this. I just can't make. I don't feel like doing anything.
You can't even think about going to the gym. Like if you're truly really sick.
Okay, so and during
which at some point it goes away and you're totally normal and you just go about your life.
But during this time,
yeah.
Well, during this time when you got bad, I guess it was probably a 2 or 3 month period. It sounds like when it was quite bad. Did you stop uploading to YouTube?
Yeah, I stopped everything.
I stopped working at all. You weren't even working?
Yeah, so I had
you were just sitting at home?
Business partner. I had a business partner and it's like employees working. So I was lucky enough to be able to take a break. After all those years, I stressed about it so much because I was like, I am the face of this company. I cannot take a break. It actually seemed like I could. It didn't do as well, of course, but it didn't go to shit. So that was kind of nice to know in a way. But it obviously took a bit of a toll, but it survived. But yeah, I pretty much quit working. I quit the sponsors. It was all like, it's hard to explain, man. But if you're in such a dark place, it's just impossible to do anything pretty much.
You were single at the time, or
No, I was with my girlfriend. Yeah,
was that towards the beginning then of your relationship?
pretty quick. Yeah, maybe half a year, maybe.
So, okay. So
Yeah.
you met Lenny, and what's her name in Dutch?
Marjolein.
Marjolein. Lenny, I remember. Marjolein, I need to get down. So you met her around the time you were starting the TRT then.
Yeah.
How did that affect your relationship with her? I'm sure, I guess the first few months it probably didn't affect much because things were good.
It's hard to say, man. Obviously, that period of burnout was tough, but she experienced that maybe a couple of years beforehand, so she knew a lot about it, and I was able to also get out of it pretty quickly. So, yeah, it was obviously. I don't know, man. I feel like we knew each other so well. It doesn't feel like we knew each other for half a year. I'm thinking if it was 1.5 years, but I think it was half a year. I feel like because we've been together so often, it feels like you spend so much more time.
But it didn't.
Than someone else. It
didn't create tension in the relationship.
Yeah, probably some tension, but we were able to get out of it for sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good that she was there. Her support, I'm assuming, helped also.
Of course, yeah. That's kind of why. Also, you know, this is like the right person. Because she didn't just leave me like, hey, you can't work anymore. You're not a YouTuber anymore. I'm gone. You know, that could happen with some girls, of course. So yeah, I went on my own to like a yoga retreat. I did the whole like, you know, pretty much finding yourself kind of thing.
And you stopped the test at that point?
Later on.
Okay.
So first I was like, it would be kind of stupid to like quit everything right now.
Yeah.
To quit working, to start just like taking care of my body, all this stuff. Because I knew test was probably not like the biggest like danger, like the only thing that was causing this.
Yeah.
Because it probably would have happened anyway. It probably would have happened a bit sooner.
Yeah.
But yeah, your body works that way, so it probably would have happened anyways.
The test was like a Band-Aid. You got this like injection of energy.
It was a Band-Aid, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was.
Well, I do remember when I started TRT that, I think the first 6 months, it's not, I wouldn't say you feel like a superhero. I say that maybe is a bit of an exaggeration, but you feel like, I would say the same thing, that I felt like I could have the worst sleep ever and I'd still wake up and be like, let's go hit some PRs at the gym, bro.
Exactly. But the question is like, how long is your body going to tolerate this?
Yeah.
So if you want to keep that up, obviously you have to keep using more.
Well,
more
yeah,
and more.
because you only get that sensation with the relative increase.
Exactly. And it's the same as, let's say, using drugs or popping some Adderall, you know? Like
you develop a tolerance.
If you do it at first, well, wow. But if you keep using Adderall every day, you're going to have to up it and up it and up it.
Yeah.
And then at some point, you start just feeling shit.
Yes.
Yeah. So it doesn't work like that.
But you'd at least
So
had to go down the path of upping the dose.
No, true. Yeah. I kind of knew like that wasn't an option, you know?
Yeah. It's been the same for me. I've always kept it around similar, like you're saying, 140, 150. Well, I guess they started me out at 200, but then it was after like 6 months, it was too much. So I think I've set around 140.
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, the main thing there, like, so I just had to change a lot of my habits, a lot of the things that I was doing. I was saying yes to pretty much everybody. So if anyone would ask me anything or have a business opportunity, I would say yes.
Yeah.
So I would do so many things at the same time, kind of because I was afraid saying no.
Yes.
Which is kind of a weird thing, even in my situation. Like, how did you get to this level while you were never saying no? So I don't even know how, but like, so I was just doing so much at the same time. I find it hard to like set boundaries with people. So I had to like learn all those things, which kind of changed my life in a lot of ways. And yeah, so taking a lot of rest helped me, and just eating healthy and sleeping well, which is, it's so normal. It's so like, you would know that as a fitness coach, but then still I was very business driven too. You kind of like, you think it doesn't apply to you exactly. So yeah, I just thought like I could sleep less than other people, or I don't know.
But ultimately you got out of it by just, I mean, it sounds like going back to the basics, right?
It sounds like going back to basics.
Like sleeping more.
Yeah.
Just not, I guess, well, sleeping more is probably the main thing, right?
Sleeping more is one of the main things. Well, obviously setting boundaries with people.
Okay.
Which goes in a lot of ways. But
yes.
Yeah. And setting boundaries for myself. So I used to work from like morning until I went to sleep very often.
Yes.
And I used to always do this, like, or go through periods, which obviously doesn't work, especially if you also get shredded 7 times a year. There was just no boundaries there, you know?
Yeah. For me, it's similar. I can do that for like a week if we have like a launch or
Yeah,
some
of course,
business
yeah.
thing, but it's not really for me sustainable for more than a couple of weeks.
Well,
In Marbella, it's funny. We came here for vacation. I was telling you, but we had so many people are here to create content with, and we have my Beast Nation. We're having an event to the next 2 days,
Yeah.
which is Merijn. You're gonna come
I'll
through.
be there, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be dope. But
yeah, and
I'm almost right now starting to feel like the anxiety this last week. Like I just need I think because we're not going to train after this. I think I'm just going to relax this afternoon though. So.
Yeah, I mean that's good.
Yeah.
So once you know that from yourself, you can.
Well, you know when to like release the pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But I never knew that back in the day. So
Well,
yeah. Maybe a bit of my ADHD brain too. I just always wanted to like keep doing stuff, be on the move. Yeah.
And have you tested your T levels since? But you stopped test.
Yeah. So it was actually great after about 4 months. I recovered.
It got higher to where it was when you were testing.
Higher
it?
than
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're around what is it at?
So this is like 20, but I don't know like if you guys measure it in the same.
This
way.
is free test.
No, regular test, the free test.
Man, the units are weird though. So I don't.
Yeah, so it's all on the video that I.
Okay, but it's in like
It's like
the
3
middle
years
of
ago.
like the normal range.
It's
or-
about in the middle, yeah.
Okay,
And before that, it was like really low, like 6.
like
you know?
below the normal range.
Yeah, it was 6. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was crazy. Yeah.
Well, for business, let's talk business because you're someone who, and a lot of people who follow the channel and the podcast, they're working to
Wait, let me get just one thing here. So
Yeah.
the way we started this combo about test was the running part. So, so
this conversation has been a bit, it's taken its own path.
Yeah, so the reason I got into running was basically I quit TRT. Yeah. And when I quit TRT, I was like, what am I going to do now that makes it more fun? So I started doing calisthenics, learning a handstand, and I started running. So this was, about 3 years ago. Just to like do
So
something.
you've been
new.
running regularly for 3 years?
Yeah, it was, well, I got a lot of injuries. So
From running.
From running. So it's been a very slow path. Yeah, I wanted to go way too quick. I made so many mistakes, which is why I'm sharing all about that now, because I think that's kind of fun for me too. All the things about fitness I've already been through. Now I'm learning new stuff about running. I also just recently got my certificate as a running coach. So I'm like learning a lot about running again. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I got into it before the whole hype, I guess, on Instagram. Yeah.
What do you enjoy about running? Or do you not enjoy it?
Mostly the discipline part. It's just very difficult again. And that just builds your mental toughness, which is different with lifting because it becomes kind of routine. And the progress, because one of the reasons the TRT is because I wanted to make progress in the gym again. Well, now with running, I'm starting as a noob, so I'm making newbie gains. So it's just a lot of fun growing in that way again.
Yeah, I'd say that I still don't think I'm going to run, to be honest. Everyone's doing it, and I know you were there before the trend, which I respect. But I have found enjoyment, and I've been lifting a bit less the last year, I'd say. And I've been doing more things like playing paddle or golf. I'm trying to learn because you now can experience, like you said, the newbie gains and the sensation of growth, whereas in the gym, and I do not have my best physique now, so I'm not. Part of me is I could go back and like lock it in the gym and make back to the gains to where I was, but there is some aspect of like I've been there and I've done that, I've climbed that mountain before, and it's more exciting to like conquer a new frontier.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, so that was the running part.
Yeah.
Let's get to business.
Let's get to business. Oh, I was also going to ask you if we're gonna go a step back. So first we were talking about Europe versus the States, and then we got into motivational speakers. But
you have to like keep me in a line. So this is my ADHD brain. I go all over the place. Yeah.
No, it's good. It's good. So would you ever live in the USA?
If I would live there?
Yeah.
No, it was my dream to live there. That's why I got the tattoo. But I don't want to live there anymore. No.
And how come?
I've been there multiple times. I love being there. I love having a vacation there. Everything is convenient. The hustle,
Very, very convenient.
very convenient, which makes the hustle culture pretty nice. I'm like less about the hustle culture now, and I still like that convenience, even though I'm less about the hustle culture. It's just nice, like if you want something, you can go get it right away, and it's nice to have like a life 24 hours a day. But like, do you really need it? Like, in the middle
like
of
this
the night?
morning, I had to print out some papers for like some waivers for the Beast Nation event, and I had to call like 12 Spanish stores, and some of them don't answer. Some of them are like, "Nah, I don't feel like doing that today."
I know, so I don't really like that. So I think when we move here, I'm gonna have a little bit of a hard time with like the mañana and like which means tomorrow, but doing things very slowly.
Yes.
And like waiting at stores and like, those kind of things. I don't really like that. In America, that's nice, the convenience. I think the nature is also beautiful in America. The opportunities are just great, also business-wise, and the gyms are great. Like, there is just so much convenience, so many things to do, so much entertainment.
So what's the reason then you wouldn't live there?
It's mostly just the whole system, how it's built. The politics, yeah, just the politics in general. It's also kind of impossible to move there. It's kind of tough. So you have to invest over $1 million, I think, or you have to marry someone who lives there, or win like a green card in a lottery. But even the fact that they give away green cards in a lottery is just, it's kind of freaking insane, man. Which country does that?
It's very difficult to get
a lottery.
It's very difficult to get a U.S. visa. If that was not a part of the, like, if I was just like, no, bro, I got you. Like, I got you. I got a visa right here.
No, it's still just the way that you guys. I guess you guys. That would be not.
What do you mean by you guys? No,
I'm kidding. I don't think you're a good example. It's just the average American, which I guess the way you grow up. I don't want my kids to grow up in this way. Like even there's just so many factors, but even the fact, which is a big fact, that in Texas are like so many school shootings every year. There's never been, I want to say never, I think never in the history of, in the true history in the Netherlands, there's never been a school shooting. And even in the whole of Europe, there's been some like mass shootings, but not anything, not anywhere close to like what you guys have in only Texas,
I don't think it's multiple per year, but obviously the states.
It is. In Texas only.
I don't think it's multiple.
Yeah, I think it was 9 last year.
Nine school shootings last year?
Yeah, and even when I'm there, I get like messages all the time from kids getting kidnapped. At least 4 like every week.
I will say in Texas, I get these Amber Alerts, and it's sometimes you don't get them for a few months, but then before we left one morning, I kept getting this kid was kidnapped to the alert.
It's insane, bro. So those are just a couple of the little, like there are so many factors, but those are just some of the insane things that like it's hard for me to even comprehend.
I understand what you're saying.
So then I would feel like growing up there is just a lot different. People are also very isolated in America. So I feel like having a kid grow up there, they can just be very isolated. And in the Netherlands or in a lot of countries in Europe, even I talk with, is it Dave, your dating coach?
Yes.
Yeah, I talk with him about it, is that even in the Netherlands, there aren't many dating coaches because we kind of learn this stuff from our peers, from our friends. And, most people will have some friends, some social circle. It's kind of just how it goes,
Well, I need to defend America a little bit here, but I don't.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't disagree with.
And I don't want to say, how do you say this in English? English is my second language.
You're not trying to shit on America.
No, I'm also not trying to shit on people because you cannot say that all the people are the same.
Yes.
Because I have a lot of American friends, and it's yeah.
Well, I would say that on one hand, I tend to agree with you that life in Europe is a bit more wholesome, is the word I would say. Some of that comes from a lack of convenience where if in the States I need to get something done, I just go to like Walmart or Target, or if I need something printed, I go to Staples or like FedEx, or there's like a million. I probably have too many places to get things printed at. But sometimes that can create a little anxiety because you're always able to get like one more little thing done each day. So you just go trying to get one more little thing done. Whereas here in Spain, it's more so than the Netherlands, you're forced to be a bit more chill because if I want to get a lot of things done today, this might not be possible other than like my direct work. So that I'm not going to stress about those things. I do think that because maybe it's just because there's less land in Europe and things are closer together, that there is a bit more sense of a community in most places in Europe, especially even in Marbella here, where there's a lot of expats from all different countries. It's very international, but there still feels a little bit more community based, which I do like. It's more social here, I would say. People enjoy life a bit more here. I think the stress levels on average are a bit lower.
Yeah.
Now, but the States is just, for running a business, it's just so efficient. Even dealings with, every government is, I think most Western governments are shit at this point, but in the States, at least it's efficient. If you need to deal with something with taxes or the government, at least you can like submit some form online and it gets done. Here, I'm like talking to my lawyer who's submitted something to the Spanish government, and 6 months later, we haven't heard a response.
I know. I would love USA for business, 100%. Yeah.
But outside of business, I see what you're saying. The guns thing is a tricky one because that also is kind of what makes the USA the USA. Is that like, the idea is that it's to protect against the corrupt government. Granted, at this point, the government has so much advanced weapons that I don't think people's guns at their houses would defend them against the corrupt government. But that's the idea, right? That they were British colonies that rebelled against England, and the idea was, look, no, we're going to be different. We're not going to, get into all these taxation, and we're not going to get into ruling all these people across the world. The issue with that is America today has kind of become a lot of the things it was meant not to be. So I feel quite conflicted about America.
What do you think about guns? Did you got guns?
At this point, I don't. You got to realize we just moved back to Texas. If you ask me that again soon, the answer may be different.
You have a shotgun.
Yeah, the thing is that I would like to have one for self-defense purposes, especially in a place where other people have guns, right? And maybe that's a bit of the issue, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because in Spain, it's funny. You can have guns for hunting here, but even if you use it for self-defense, you would still be charged. So like if someone broke in right now and they had a gun, let's say, and I had a hunting rifle and I took it and they were about to kill you and I shot them, I would still be the one who gets arrested in Spain, which is a bit backwards. But I mean, I think, look, for me, my biggest issue with anything is like people suffering and violence and wars. And so for that reason, I can't say that I like guns, but I do understand and appreciate the reason that the U.S. has the Second Amendment to protect our ability to carry firearms, because the spirit of that is that we can protect against a corrupt government that's trying to do something, that we're able to kind of take the law into our own hands. However, again, at this point in 2024, even if me and my whole neighborhood we're protecting the neighborhood with guns, they might just drop a bomb or a missile, and then what is it? I don't know if it can serve that effect.
Yeah. All right.
Let's talk business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one more thing actually here. Now that we're talking about America, what is your view as someone who's familiar with America, but you're removed from it? What is your view on the current election? Because right now that is, and I know you might not have too much you want to say, but that is what everyone is focused on right now. And this is like the most, they say it's the closest predicted election maybe in the history of U.S. elections, where it's very unsure who's going to win. Obviously, a lot of people completely hate Donald Trump. A lot of people completely love Donald Trump. I think the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris is, well, I don't know, they're a bit scary, but I'm curious from your perspective how you view these things.
I just view it as a puppet show. Is that what we call it in Dutch, I guess?
Yes.
Yeah, kind of like a puppet show. But I don't really know. I haven't seen much of the two this election, so.
Who would you vote for?
I find it hard to... No, I honestly don't know because I haven't seen anything.
Okay.
But is it true that like Trump is going to jail and he would become a president from jail? That would be pretty crazy.
Well,
or is it like not sure yet? Like,
no. Well, the things he was charged for, and I think maybe there are some things that he. I mean, I think most politicians have things that they're guilty of, but the things he were charged for were kind of like these trumped up charges, like Trump not trying to these like false charge, not false, but they kind of like silly charges. They weren't really. They're kind of like bullshit. The things that they're charging him for. However, I tend to agree with you that it's a bit of a puppet show, and that it's really the Democrats and the Republicans, they agree on 99% of the issues regarding the wars, and for big pharmaceutical companies, they all take money from the same private companies, and then they get everyone to kind of argue back and forth about like immigration and LGBTQ stuff. And then meanwhile, they're running, they kind of keep people distracted with these surface level issues, and then just keep doing everything they want to do.
Yeah, that's politics. I try to like not really get into politics much because it just makes me frustrated. And I'm like, I'll just do what I can do to live a good life. And I don't want to let the external circumstances change it, which it can have an effect on your life. But like, it's never affected my life so much that,
Yeah, the biggest impact, well, I think it can have a lot of impacts.
It does, yeah.
But now with a child coming soon, I think I pay a bit more attention.
I think it'll change, yeah.
Yeah, just because I'm a bit more concerned what's going to happen in 20 years from now versus, how the business is doing next year.
Yeah.
So business. Are we ready to talk about business?
We're ready.
So you, like myself, you've experimented with a lot of different businesses. You had your clothing brands. That was it was like 6 years ago now.
Probably, yeah.
You've done supplements also or not?
No.
Okay, supplements you haven't done. You've done a lot of different types of coaching. You've run, I think, even personal training studios essentially in the Netherlands. And I'm curious, because from an outside perspective, at times, and this is not recently, but there was some years where I'd see, Merijn's got a new project X. He's got a new business in the works, and I would always wonder, is he doing too many different things? And to some of these businesses, like they come, but they're gone maybe 6 months later. And
yeah, I've done too many things. Yeah.
So I'm curious.
It's kind of like that's been my main struggle. That's kind of why this whole period of the burnout shit happened.
Yeah.
Because I was just doing too many things. And I would have the shiny object syndrome, the woman in the red dress. So I would always see this new opportunity and be like, that's it. I get very excited about things. And then once I'm in them, I'm not excited anymore. That's kind of my struggle. So now that I know that in business, sometimes things they will get a little bit boring and repetitive, and that's okay. But yeah, I started the clothing line, which don't start clothing. It's a
clothing
it's a struggle.
I mean,
how do you feel about it?
Well, I have momentum now with Edge Lifestyle because it's been going since 2018, and we've grown it each year, and we've figured out some paid ad strategies and which items sell better than others. But I wouldn't do it again. I would have done something differently, to be honest. And I do enjoy clothing, but I really do. I really do enjoy clothing. I do enjoy creating new designs. And at this point, I'm excited to keep doing it. However, it's just so much a grind of a business because you have to constantly invent new products.
Yeah.
There's so much lost money in the margins because some sizes of some items maybe just don't sell. People return items because they don't fit well, and maybe they return them and it's like, it's got dog hair on it or something, and you can't really sell it, but you still want to have good customer support because this person's placed 5 other orders, so you just refund them anyway. So you lose. It's not an efficient business. You lose money everywhere. But at this point, we have momentum, and I do enjoy it. So I'll keep it going. But I would never, if I was starting from zero, I would never start a clothing business again.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. Like, I enjoy clothing as well, and I love making clothing, the design, but it's only a very small part of what you'll actually be doing when it comes to clothing.
Yeah.
And things just take very long with suppliers, and that's me like having no patience. It just takes so long, man. So for some people, it's great. I mean, if you have a really good idea, you have a unique clothing style, whatever, it can be great.
But this is a good point you make, is that the design process of the clothing is maybe 5% of the time and the effort. Most of it is creating the right supply chain, figuring out the fulfillment, figuring out the returns, figuring out the customer service. And then, of course, the grand majority, like any business, at least, is marketing. And there's a lot of competition with clothing, so marketing is not so simple.
True. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which other businesses have you tried that didn't go well and that you wouldn't recommend other people to do?
This would be the only one, I guess. I wouldn't recommend people to. No, it's not that I wouldn't recommend people to do. It just kind of depends on where you're at and what you're trying to do. For me, like, products are just, I've never gotten so much satisfaction from it in a way.
Well, the profit margins are quite tough when you have a physical product because you don't just have to create it, but you have to store it somewhere and then you have to ship it.
I mean, I do have a book, so I guess that's a physical product anyways,
yes.
Which is done really well and has been fun. Now, I haven't interfered with the whole manufacturing process and all that, so I didn't do any of that.
It was a bit simpler. There's not like, do I get like the medium or the small or the extra large book?
Exactly, yeah. So in that sense, it's kind of simple. But I guess I'm just a guy. I love sharing my knowledge. So for me, products never really accomplished that goal. So I feel like for me, the service businesses have been more fun. But within that service business, I've also done a lot of different things, of course.
Yeah, so of the service businesses, which I think anyone who's trying to get into business is 100%, 1,000, 1,000,000% where you need to start because it's faster to get up and running, the profit margins are better, and it's just a simpler process. Which of those have done the best for you? If you had to pick one, like what's been the most profitable?
I mean, I guess one of the most profitable is just one-on-one coaching. It costs a lot of time. So in the beginning, that's great because you need some cash flow. So it's good. It's the way I started with student aesthetics. I just did one-on-one coaching. I was coaching a lot of guys at some point. It was just a full-time job by itself.
Yeah.
Later on, we started hiring coaches. So we started kind of like scaling it up. But then the problem came that like if you hire certain coaches, they will also become the face of the company. But what happens when like other companies give them better offer or they want to do their own thing? We had contracts in place, but then still we noticed, and this has actually been in the works for pretty long, working with the coaches. So we've done that for many years. I've noticed that like at some point they always kind of like get a better offer, especially in this day and age. In the Netherlands, there's just a lot of job opportunities. So they might get a better job even outside of fitness that just pays a lot more, or they want to do their own thing in fitness. You do have a little competition contract, but it expires at some point as well. And we cannot really raise the prices of the coaching because you have a certain way of doing business, certain profit margin. And then once you do this with one coach, you have to do it with the other ones too.
Yes.
So I kind of realized like that's also sort of an issue. It can work for some people, but it's kind of like tough. So I didn't really see how we were going to keep that up forever. So now we've kind of structured it different, but it's only after all these years where it's more like a fitness app and I'm still kind of the face of it, but I don't do the one-on-one coaching stuff. So it doesn't cost additional time. They cost a lot of time building everything, doing all the videos, doing all the, instructions, courses, etc. But once it's up and running, you can pretty much keep it there going. Yeah. But I would say anyone starting out one-on-one coaching is.
It's funny because when you're starting out, you feel bad charging a high price for something, and you're like, no, I just want to do my $50 plan. But I mean, I've been there before when I had. Well, this is the blogging days, and I had like an email list of 7,000 people, and I would kill myself. I mean, at the time it was still like a PDF, but I would like kill myself for like 3 months to make this really nice training PDF, and I would sell it, but then I'd make like $1,000 because if you have 7,000 people following you, maybe 100 people buy the plan, and it's a $50 plan. Okay, maybe I made $5,000, but and then you have to like make the next plan because if you have a very large audience, like now I prefer to do. The lower cost Beast Nation community, it's $50 a month, or the Beastly Fitness app, if you have $15 a month. But it makes sense when you have a bigger audience because that's like your leverage is that there's a whole lot of people, so a lower price point will entice a lot of them. But it's funny when you're actually getting started, assuming you have expertise in something, I do think coaching's the best because you might be able to charge people, $3,000 for an 8-week program or something where you're working with them one-on-one. Maybe it's fitness. Maybe you have some expertise in some type of business thing you can help them with. And that's the only way you're going to, like, it's just a math problem, right? If you only maybe can sell if you sell $3,000, okay, that's over 2 months. And maybe you're able to get 5 clients, let's say. Okay, well, now you just made $15,000 in 2 months versus killing yourself to create this really cool product that no one's going to enjoy.
True. And then a lot of people don't realize that these bigger businesses such as yourself or such as mine, I've been doing this I started coaching it when I was 20 years old. So it's 9 years of experience and also like better software, better websites. Those things are all not really important when you get started. And it's more so.
Yeah, but if you're doing coaching, the value is, hey, I'm here with you. I'm in the trenches.
Right.
Let's work.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how I got my first clients too. They were all from America, actually, my first clients. So I love Americans, No, for real. They actually gave me a shot, where other people didn't. So that was kind of cool. So my first clients were from America. And because I was promoting it as, this is one-on-one, I'm not a big company like all these other influencers, like a Steve Cook or even a Christian Guzman was already big at the time. He was probably selling like PDF programs. So I'm not like these guys that don't have time anymore to like do one-on-one coaching. I actually have time for this. And that's kind of how I was able to sell it to people. And then also I was doing the sales calls. And what people don't realize when you look at the bigger business that they have a certain sales process. Mm-hmm. But when you get started, very often people will skip that process because when you look at a bigger business, you don't see that process.
Yes.
So when you just copy what people are doing, which everyone does in the beginning, you copy someone else, you don't realize there's a whole process behind it and you don't actually know what it is. when you do the one-on-one sales calls and you get good at that, you will be able to actually make the sale. You don't have to put the prices on a website like we perhaps do with the lower ticket offers, you know. So it's
and
just
that's
a different kind of game.
It was probably, if I was getting started now and I had a small audience, I would first pay someone to coach me on the sales process and how to do the fulfillment for my one-on-one coaching. Because like you said, there's different ways to do it. Some people will have setters where they call people, set them for a closing call. Some people will have closers. Some people do different systems separate from that. But without the system, you're going to waste a lot of time and frustration just guessing. Oh, maybe this will work. But there's like very defined and proven sales funnels for different types of coaching and products. Yeah.
And then you can just look at the numbers, which numbers are not good, which should be higher, what am I doing wrong? Yeah.
And if you're able to do the sales calls yourself with your own audience, your conversion rate's gonna be quite higher than later down the road if you don't have time and now you have some other guy who opts on to sell them. They're like, they don't know this guy. That's a little bit, there's not as much trust.
Yeah, and I think also you get to know the people's problems very well. If it's you make the content, you talk to those people, you kind of figure out what their problems are, their pain points, and then you can sell them better as well in the long run.
Yeah, business is a business is a journey.
Business is a journey, yeah. So it's not easy, man. It never gets easy, right?
No, because it changes. Whenever you feel like you figured something, same as with YouTube. I can feel like I have 3 months where the videos are all just crushing, and then whether it's the algorithm that changes or people's viewing habits or the competition start doing things differently, whenever you feel like you're in a good place with business, at least me, I pretty much expect that it's almost like in a horror movie, like a scary movie you're watching, and it gets to one of those scenes where you're like, something's about to happen. Like someone's about to kill this guy. Yep. Like that's how I feel when business is going well. I'm like, something's about to happen. Yep. Something's about to go wrong.
It's true, man. Yeah. And I guess we can see YouTube as a business too. So I've had a lot of ups and downs with YouTube as well. And we were just talking about that. It just happens in phases where you do well, you do less well. And right now I'm able to put it in perspective because I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. Yeah. Where you can actually see kind of like the bad times and then you see the good times again. And you realize that it's not over. In the beginning, I used to always think, which I think is kind of good. People often say you don't want to act out of fear. I think it's kind of good in the beginning. I was just scared to lose it all, which is why I always went in hardcore, and always kept doing my stuff. And I feel like now I'm even a little more complacent because I know I'm not just gonna die next week. Not everything is gonna die out if I have a bad week when it comes to the views. So I guess
the first couple times that I saw, because when you first get momentum on YouTube, at least for me, I'm just curious if it was the same for you. You have no momentum, right? And you have to work really, really hard. And then you get this initial momentum where you're starting to get some views and some comments. And for me, that carried me for 2 years of growth. And I even spoke to this with Jesse James West, who has a channel far bigger than either of ours now, when he was on the growth path. But when you catch momentum on YouTube, you feel invincible for some time, where you just know each video is going to perform the same or better than the previous video. Everyone in the comments is loving you. All the videos are bangers. It's all happening so well. But it's not sustainable. It's maybe sustainable for even a year or two. I think for me, it might have been, 3 years is growing. But then it happens. And it happens to all of us where you have one bad video and you're like, all right, okay, we're probably not that big of a deal, whatever. Then you have 2 bad videos. You have 3.
After 2, it's already pretty bad. Yeah.
And then you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bad videos. And then you're looking and you start to scroll down and see where your views used to be. And you scroll up.
I know, that sucks.
And then you start to feel like people don't care about me anymore. And okay, whatever. Maybe. For me, I don't know. For me, that part doesn't bother me that much. It's more like it's an avenue for growth. And it's well, is it just going to keep going down until it's 0 now and just no one's going to watch the videos anymore? Because I kind of built these businesses off the YouTube channel. Then my mind starts to go, oh, fuck it, the business is going to get fucked now too. But yeah, I do think
I have exactly those same thoughts, yeah.
Right? It's hard not to, because we started with YouTube. And I think that the anxiety is good, especially at first, because then I'm I'll be up at night. What am I going to change? What do I change? What do I need to reinvent here to make this work? And then eventually, if you don't give up, Like the views, they come back, and maybe they don't come back as high as they were. Maybe they come back higher, but there's a natural up and down with YouTube, and I think now I am a lot more calm about it. Even though I told you yesterday the video I put up that had like you, Rob, Mike Thurston, Joey, I'm probably missing someone else who was on the thumbnail, Christian, and with that video it really bothered me because I was like, it's so different. Normally, I kind of have like, I don't really have expectations for the videos. I just make so many of them. I put them out. I'm like, oh, hopefully it does well. Oh, this one did well. That's cool. This one didn't do well. Maybe we don't do something like that again. But this one, I was like, it's going to do well. It's going to be the best video.
The worst, yeah.
And it came out and it's doing terrible. And I'm like, those are the ones that really fuck with me. I haven't had one. Yes, last night I was in that mind space that I haven't been in for like a year or two probably. And I was just like why? Why? Like, why YouTube? And you start looking at the analytics and you're like, well, the impressions are low. So YouTube's not even showing this video to anyone. Why isn't YouTube showing this video to anyone? But it's a new day and now I'm like, whatever, let's get back to making videos.
Yeah, I can relate to that, man. I have many of these nights where it's usually in the night as well. Like in the evenings, I get kind of like low at the end of the day. I'm kind of like a morning person anyway. So I wake up, I'm like fresh. And then in the evenings, kind of like my confidence goes down. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the whole day, kind of like, especially if we have a long day. And then I start chatting with my girlfriend as well, and she often like reminds me of this stuff. Yeah. Because I'm like thinking in scenarios that are, it's like worst case scenarios, you know. I'm not sure. Like it goes away a little bit, but it never fully goes away. Yeah. But I think I've kind of accepted that my views are lower, which I had to do when I switched to Dutch content about 2 years ago.
That was a business decision, yeah?
That was a business decision. And so this also goes to show that like the views are not everything. And that took me a while to get. So my views were really high on my English YouTube channel, at least for me, you know, less high than yours. But like for me, they were relatively high compared to most people that start a YouTube channel, almost 300K subs. I think I'm losing subscribers now because I don't upload anymore. So I'm like at 295 maybe. Yeah. But when I'm in Marbella, I'll start picking it up so that then we'll get to the 300K. It'd be nice to like hit 500K in my lifetime. So, you know, maybe that would be a sick goal. And then you're over 1 million, yeah, like almost 2 of them. Maybe. Yeah,
it's crazy. Once I hit 1 million, it was a big goal for a long time. And it was one that I celebrated. But after that, now I just like, it's just the views because like, I don't really
the views and it's the conversion. So I switched to Dutch, which was a business decision. Yeah. On Instagram, I had, I think, so basically my views on YouTube, for example, were like 60% abroad, 80% even, 60 to 80. But my sales were like 80% Dutch. So I started to kind of like ask myself, what if I make Dutch videos? I get a better connection with people. Because my English is good, but it's not my first language. It's not the best. So there are certain words or certain, even like just funny jokes that only Dutch people will get. You know what I mean? Even like just jokes about Americans, for example. I'm sorry, but like Dutch people find it funny. You know what I mean? Because we all kind of relate to each other.
What's a Dutch joke about Americans?
No, I don't know out of my head. But like, Dutch people are very, we call it nuchter, but we're very not over the top. Yes. That's why we don't have motivational speakers. Yeah. So at some point, I wanted to get into speaking more. I did like international speaking gigs, but in the Netherlands, I was looking like, is there a motivational? But there's no motivational speakers, and they don't get paid like anything like you guys in America. You know, the big ones.
Well, with that business,
it just wouldn't work. So
but when you changed from English to Dutch content, did you see the following year an increase in your business revenue?
Yeah. So the first year, it actually went down a little bit. So the business, not necessarily, but let's say the sponsorship sales went down a little bit.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Obviously, people that buy clothing, buy supplements. So that went down slightly. With the business, obviously, a little bit in the beginning because we lost some English customers. And I'm like, people sending me emails, Merijn, you still do coaching or can I buy a program? I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Can't buy a program. So I had to kind of turn down people, which I didn't like. I never did that beforehand. I always had something. So I didn't have anything to offer, which made the business more simple. So we could spend more time on it. But it also just made a better connection with the Dutch people. But that took a while because I switched. I lost some followers. Instagram, I probably get 1/8 of the likes that I used to get, which is, it's hard. It sucked in the beginning. It's hard to accept. Yeah. But then the people that watch it are way more likely to become customers, to get engaged in the content. So it took a while, but now after a year, it's been 2.5 years now. after a year, it started really growing fast. So it's been good.
So the first year less income.
Yeah,
the
so
second,
first year I
the
had
second year now it's gone up higher.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was the right decision.
So I've
then.
actually had my best years now, even though my views are much, much lower than they used to be.
Well, my views peaked in like 2020, which is funny to me, but they peaked in like 2020, and then they came down quite a bit, and then they've stabilized since then. But my business income each year has increased each year more and more.
Yeah.
So, but still, I still think like a YouTuber.
Yeah.
It's funny. Me and Max joke about this a lot because we all have the same issue, right? Where it's like, I'd almost rather my views be better than like my business like generate more money.
I know.
But it's just because we came from that was the metric that mattered when we were growing, and it's hard to like decouple that in our brains.
I know it still is hard. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I could say that it's easy, but it's not.
No, it's not.
Those
easy.
metrics will always fuck with my head.
And then when you release a video that does really well now, I can't help it. I'm just like on top of the world for that day. I'm like, fuck yeah, man. So many people are gonna watch this video today. And I put so much effort into all the videos. I'm like, it just makes me happy. And I can't help it. But that's life. So you've been dating Lenny now for 3 years?
For a little over 4, yeah.
4 years. Damn.
Time flies, man.
Time flies.
Yeah.
And before her, you were single for quite a while, or?
Yeah, probably maybe 2 years. Before that, I had a girlfriend for 2 years. So yeah. That was quite a good single time, the 2 years, yeah.
Yeah? Well, why was that such a good time?
Because, like, I just started, like, getting some of course, I was, like, kind of, like, famous.
Yes.
Semi-famous. So I could just easily get a lot of girls, which was kind of nice because I didn't enjoy that before that, you know.
Were you meeting girls during that time mainly through Instagram? Or?
Yeah, just DMs, mainly Instagram. Or in real life, they would just recognize me.
And this is mainly in Netherlands.
Yeah. I liked actually walking up to girls, but very often they would recognize me or someone else would recognize me. So let's say I'm already in a good conversation with them. Like most guys don't walk up to girls anyways. So I used to do it just during the day.
Yes.
Maybe in a grocery store, maybe outside in the city.
What would you usually say to start a conversation?
I didn't have particular starters, whatever. Maybe I had back in the day, but I don't. It wasn't that catchy, you know. It was just kind of
just low key.
Just kind of low key, yeah.
And the places would usually just be like
they would probably not even notice that I was like in the first sentence that I was hitting on them.
Yeah,
It's kind of started later.
Just a casual question.
Yeah, just casual.
And this would be a grocery store, other parts around the city.
Yes, I was living in the city center, so I could just walk around and
in Amsterdam at the time.
Nijmegen.
Oh, Nijmegen. Okay.
So or at a festival. But anyway, so I start chatting to a girl, and then very often I would get recognized in the same, you know, maybe in the grocery store. At a festival, I would get recognized a lot. Someone wants to take a photo with me, and they're already pretty impressed because I walk up to them. I'm a nice. Maybe they like how like.
Well, you're fit. You're good looking
guy.
So
they like
you're tall too. Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's like an extra.
Oh, bro, I love your videos.
And
man.
it works so well. Like, yeah, they're just over the moon. They're like, whoa.
Now, because you're hitting all the different influences that women find attractive.
Yeah. So for me, I've never been about like. Maybe I've read the book from like the Neil Strauss book, maybe back in the day.
The Game.
Yeah, that's I think the only book that I read, and I did maybe got some things from that, but I've never been too much into like pickup lines and all those kind of things. It's mainly just about like being confident, obviously having built a good life for myself. I was pretty, I guess, for my age, I was pretty, how do you say it in English? Pretty grown up for my age.
Okay.
I guess, yeah.
All right, so you had 2 single years where you were cleaning up, let's say, doing quite well.
Yeah.
You had the clout, you had the body, you had everything going for you. What was it about Lenny that made you leave that life behind?
So basically, I met her during COVID. I met her in real life as well. And basically, when we just had a conversation, just something sparked.
But what was different versus all the... Because you were having all these other conversations.
It's hard to say, man. It's just a certain spark, man. So it's hard to say. That's the feeling, I guess. And then obviously I wasn't necessarily sure. So I started dating her, started seeing her more.
Okay, maybe that's the question. Yeah. Once you started seeing her more, because I'm sure you saw other girls before that where maybe you felt the spark also, right, at the beginning. So you liked her, you were attracted to her. So what was different about her after some weeks or months that you were like, okay, maybe this is a girl I commit to?
Yeah, a lot of things are different, man. But we're very alike in a certain sense that we can be best friends, but also there is still a sexual spark, which there has to be.
That's the difficult balance to find, I think.
I think that's a difficult balance to find. Yeah.
Because my first relationship, it was not much sexual spark, but we got along quite well. My second relationship was a lot of sexual spark, but we fought all the time, or there was a lot of tension all the time. And then with Julia, I think I found that balance. That's quite hard to find.
Exactly. I think it is. So yeah, we laugh a lot together. We can also be serious, and she really, I don't know, she's honestly the best person I know. I don't know anyone as good as her. Really, not even myself.
As good in what?
Yeah, just good in the sense of a good human being.
Like cares for other people.
Yeah, just truly just cares so much more for others than for herself, which can also be tough, of course. She's just genuinely, the best person I know, to be honest. And she supports me 100% on everything I do, which you also need, especially with this kind of life.
Yeah, it sounds like the same as Julia, bro. That balance we talked about, the support, and then also there's one other thing you just mentioned that I forgot, but
humor, sexual energy.
Oh, just being a good person, right? It's
person.
In 2024. I think a lot of us are selfish, and I'm selfish. I feel a lot less selfish now that Julia's the baby coming soon. It's just something changed inside of me. Yeah. But I think when you meet a genuinely good person, like Julia is the type of person that if she sees a homeless person or there's even an animal on the side of we'll stop. It's just everything we're doing will stop. I have to go help this person. Yeah. And at first it was annoying, but it's something that's very nice about that, actually.
Exactly, yeah. And I think also we have to be, not every influencer agrees with me on this, but we have to be sort of selfish.
With our time,
Yeah, in order to do what we do, because we didn't get here by just caring about other people. We also make a lot of time for ourselves.
Yes.
Also, when you're in a room, you have to you're always kind of outstanding because you have to bring the energy, you have to make the videos. I don't know, very often it's all about you, depending on who you surround yourself with, but very often it is about you. And also then if you're with a girl, I've always thought like if there are some people who are both influencers and together and both making YouTube videos. I always thought that would be very difficult. But there's there's couples that do it successfully.
That would be very tough.
I'm not sure if we could do it.
No, Julia's played a big role, and she's been like a supporting character in the videos, let's say. Yeah. But if she was also doing her own social media all the time, it would just be very exhausting. Because I feel like we get exhausted by me having to do my stuff, but then it would be very exhausting. I don't know how to balance that. Yeah,
so same for me. Yeah. Having that full support, I think that's something I needed in my life anyways, yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you. She's a great girl. Thanks, man. Yeah. I'm always excited to, and Julia and her get along quite well too, which is very nice. Yeah. We'll have to try and meet up one more time before we both head out of Marbella. Sure. Yeah. Cool. Looks like this camera over here is about to overheat, so we'll use this timing here to wrap it up. Obviously, I'll drop your social links below. Anything else do you want to mention? Or you want me to link below?
Nah, just a link to my English YouTube channel because I'll be back. Yeah. The other ones are in Dutch, so
okay, you better be back. Now, putting that link there.
100.
I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate it too, man.
It's always good to connect. I feel like we've known each other casually now, 4 or 5 years even, and I always feel like we're very much on the same page.
For sure, yeah.
Well, maybe one day we'll be back in Marbella.
I think you will, yeah.
I think we will too. I don't think it's going to be in the next 5 years, but I think we'll be back.
Yeah. I'll be waiting.
All right, later, guys. Have a good one.